Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are tackling a huge topic, something you're hearing about everywhere, generative AI. We're going to jump right in and figure out what it is, how it actually works, and, why you should even care. So let's just start with a really big question, okay? It's something that kind of challenges everything we thought we knew about creativity. Can a machine be creative? Can it make art? All right, have a look at this. A short poem. Where silent stars ignite the velvet dark. I mean, listen to those words. Whispered winds leave their ethereal mark. It's got rhythm, it has a certain feeling to it, right? It feels like it came from somewhere, well, creative. Okay, so here's the kicker. That poem, it wasn't written by a human. Nope, it was written in about 5 seconds by an AI. Faster than I could even read it out loud to you. Wild, right? So you gotta be asking, how in the world is that possible? Well, it's not magic, even though it kind of feels like it. It's all technology. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really going on inside. Okay, so it all starts with this thing called a large language model. You've probably seen the letters LLM. Think of it as a super, super smart AI that's been taught to understand language, but not just words, the whole shebang, the grammar, the context, how we actually talk to each other. A pretty good way to think about it is like a foundational brain. Seriously, it's not just a dictionary memorizing stuff. It's actually learning all the tiny, complicated patterns and rules, and even the subtle vibes of how we communicate. This is actually a really important distinction, because a lot of people get this mixed up. The large language model, the LLM, that's the engine. It's the powerful, complex bit under the hood. But generative AI, that's the car itself. It's the app you use, the thing that takes all that engine power and actually does something with it, like, write a poem. All right, so if the LLM is the engine, how do you build one? I mean, how does a computer go from just a bunch of ones and zeros to getting language well enough to write poetry? Well, at its core, it's actually something you use every single day. Think about the autocomplete on your phone. You type, "I'm on my," and it suggests, "way." It's just predicting the next word. An LLM does exactly that, but it's like a supercharged, genius-level version of it. The scale is just mind-blowing. The whole learning process boils down to 3 basic steps. First, ingest. The model just eats a massive, massive library of text and code. Then, analyze. It sifts through everything, finding trillions of patterns and connections. And we're not just talking simple stuff. We're talking about deep, abstract ideas. And finally, predict. After all that, its one and only job is to get insanely good at predicting the most likely next word. And that's the magic trick. Do that one simple thing billions and billions of times, and suddenly you get something that looks a lot like creativity. And when I say the scale is mind-blowing, I mean it. Look at this number. Over 175 billion. That's the number of parameters a model like GPT-3 was trained on. So what's a parameter? Just think of it like a little knob the AI can turn to get better at its job. So yeah, it has 175 billion of these little knobs to fine-tune its predictions. It's just staggering. So where does all this training data come from? Well, picture the biggest library in the history of the world, and then multiply it. It's learning from pretty much the entire internet. Public websites, millions of digital books, scientific articles, news, computer code, even social media. It's basically absorbing a giant slice of human knowledge. Okay, so this is the part that really matters. This isn't just some sci-fi thing that's happening in a lab somewhere. Generative AI is already here. It's being built into the tools and apps that you and I use like every single day. I'd be willing to bet you've already used it today, and maybe you didn't even know it. Seriously. So let's take a look at where this stuff is popping up in real life. Looking at the big picture, a huge chunk of it, about 40%, is being used for content creation. Writing stuff. But look at this. Another big slice is for software development, helping programmers write code. And then you've got customer support, research. It's really starting to spread out. And here's some real everyday examples. Ever had to summarize a super long email? Yep, that's generative AI. Need to brainstorm some ideas for a project? It's great for that. It helps write and fix computer code. And when you ask a search engine a question and it just gives you the answer directly? That's this technology at work. Okay, so we've covered what it is and how it works. We're starting to get a handle on it. But now for the really big question. What's next? Where is all this heading? And here's the thing you really have to wrap your head around. This isn't just getting a little better over time.
It is evolving at an absolutely insane speed. What we've seen so far is just a tiny glimpse. The pace of change here is, well, it's exponential. The models get more powerful literally every few months.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. Maybe the most powerful thing about this AI isn't the answers it's going to give us. Maybe it's about the completely new questions it's going to let us ask. Questions about everything: science, creativity, even what it means to be human. The future here really is an unwritten page. And that's what makes this so incredibly exciting.